All right, let's examine this knockout here, and you're going to see a kick in the face, and it's going to go into a lot slower motion. It was a great catch on the mandibular branch of the facial nerve, and that guy just went out cold. You could see his legs just lost all control whatsoever. His body just stifled. He didn't fall correctly. He didn't know where he was gone. And what was happening is the kick is coming in at a perpendicular angle to the jaw, and typically that's not a correct angle for the nerve to be activated to cause such an effect on the body. However, what you will notice when we slow it down frame by frame is that the extension of the foot of the kick, as well as the forward inertia of the fighter coming in at the kick, made the angle and a trajectory correct on the facial nerve, and that is what caused it all. Typically, kicks can do this because the person's forward inertia. It's not because of the angle of the kick. It's because the opponent keeps coming in. So the kick is extending outward as the opponent is coming inward. So that sends that trajectory along that facial nerve directly toward the brainstem and the central nervous system, and why it shocks the system so much, and why the body loses all motor control because it's in emergency mode. So we're going to take a look at the facial nerve here in an anatomical viewpoint. So hang on. Okay, let's take a look at the anatomy here. We can see the facial nerve right down and through here, and let's move him up a little and zoom in. Okay, we can see right here is the mandibular branch of the facial nerve, comes all the way to the forefront. Now this branch up in here, this is what's called the buccal branch, and it's not as powerful a shot as on the mandibular branch, and we'll get into it in a few seconds. But what happens is if you're using this, let's get rid of the skin here. When you use this buccal branch here, or you try to hit the person in mid-cheek, what happens is this muscle tissue here, the masseter muscle, is going to buffer the nerve so it doesn't hit against the teeth or any bone structure. As a matter of fact, you can see that it's quite far away from the bone structure, and it's got like two pillows. You got this muscle in here, which is called the ristorius, and this one's this the masseter. So you are not going to get a sharp shot. No, it's still possible, especially if you use a smaller knuckle like the hand offers. But with a foot, you've got that broad set of metatarsals on the top of the foot, which is solid bone, but it's still going to run into this like pillow-like effect. Up and through here, you're going to have the same effect on this nerve here. Well, let's catch the nerve first, the zygomatic nerve. Now, if you caught it up on the temporal nerve, well, that's another story. But our story here today is on this nerve here. All right, and what we're going to do with this is we're going to bring them down a little bit more, and let's take away, or let's just fade this muscle. No, let's just take it away altogether. All right, and we can see that the nerve is resting right against the bone. So very powerful strike, and that's why many Kyusho stylists go after this target. Now, it is not what some people call stomach 5. That's not the nerve. That's up and through here on the muscle tissue. and the muscle tissue has the connective tissue, and that's what the acupuncture or acupressure is working on. But this knockout was on the nerve itself. And what happens is, let's back him out a little bit. This nerve can't be struck in this direction and have a good result. All right, what has to happen is it has to come into the bone, okay? And as it's coming into the bone, on a slightly downward angle to catch it onto the bone, you have to shock it so the nerve message goes along into the root of the facial nerve and hooks into the central nervous system via the spine and then up to the brain. So that's what happened. As the foot came forward, okay, this way, as it was extending and swinging in this way, the individual was moving inward. So the foot caught it against the bone, okay? The foot extended so the energy went in and the opponent came into it, so it further sent the shock message up into the central nervous system of the individual, and you saw the results of that. And this is why one of the old adages of the martial arts is let the opponent's strength defeat them. And that's not understood by many people, but it's a long-known term. And this is just one of the ideas that can cause that effect of the person running into the effect as opposed to just getting kicked in the head. Now, just getting kicked in the head can knock the person out too if it was with severe enough power because of the jolt on the brain stem, the jarring of the head, the concussion, the brain sloshing back and forth in the cranium. But if you go rewind the tape again and listen to the kick, you can hear it's just a slapping sound. So it was a good enough kick, but it is just not a heavy blow that would cause a concussion or a knockout by itself unless you got the neurological shock. Now, the reason why I say it was caught on the nerve is because of the other body reactions, not just because of what we saw on the film itself, but when you see the body reactions. Now, let's go back to the film here, and so let's take a look at the body reaction again. You'll notice instantly the leg locks out. Okay, it has no control over itself. It's rigid. The other leg couldn't offer the support, and the body just fell because the legs couldn't even have a stepping reflex or balancing or rebalancing reflex or withdrawal reflex, so it would put the limb into the position of safety. So this is how we take a look at the Kyusho, and this is why we say that you got to have the right tool, the right trajectory, and the right target. And it all seemed to work today. Now, this is just a small sample of what you'll find in the extended videos. We go through the actual knockouts and the actual demonstrations, the anatomical breakdowns, as well as the introductory story to it all. And this was just a knockout I saw on the YouTube, and I thought I would bring it to you because it added a whole variety of lessons. So join us in the extended versions.